All right, the first season under Jed Fish at the University of Washington, a whole entire new program, a new regime, and everything about it is now kind of coming to an end for the first season, that is. Now, of course, there's still a bowl game, and through 12 games, 6-6 record. Now, let's not over panic here. We were blessed with a team that went to the national championship last year. Let's take a look at exactly how the season for the Washington Huskies went this year. All right, my name is George on Tap, and is part of Seattle on Tap. We're going to talk about the Washington Huskies season now that the regular season's over, pending a bowl game, and then we'll talk about what might be our bowl game projections, who we might play, where, and in which bowl games. Before we get started, I do want to mention the Rebet app. If you like to bet on sports, the Rebet app is the only betting app available in Washington State. It's fully legal. Washington State residents, you can actually bet using your mobile phone with the Rebet app. All you have to do is click the link in the description or download the Rebet app and use promo code ONTAP, and you get up to $100 US bonus. It's a great way to bet on player props, futures, parlays, same game parlays, or straight up bets. Check it out, Rebet app, promo code ONTAP. All right. So the Huskies went 6-6 on the season. We're going to kind of go through each and every game, talk about how we fared in them, what were some problems, kind of some bright spots going into next season. But we'll start off the bright spots going into next season. And I think that's fairly obvious. A second year of recruiting under Jed Fish, and a return of Jonah Coleman. Officially now, it seems like Jonah Coleman is 100% in on returning for his senior season, and he's one of the most dynamic running backs in the Big Ten. Having Jonah Coleman is going to be great, and having Damond Williams in his first season as a full-time starter is going to be great. We saw flashes against UCLA. We saw flashes whenever he came on the field. And we saw a few flashes against Oregon, but Oregon team that, frankly, they just ran us off the field, plain and simple. So we start off our season with Weber State, beat them. Game kind of felt slow, but 35-3, followed by a 30-9 win versus Eastern Michigan University. And through two games, we'd only given up 12 points, and you're kind of feeling pretty good. All right, 12 points through two games. Huskies looking all right. Then things got weird. We played Washington State University, obviously, in the Apple Cup at Lumen Field, and we could not finish off the game. Penalties after penalties after penalties after penalties. You get the point. Lost that game, and of course, a option play on 4th down and goal to the option right was one of our worst play calls of the season, and we just felt absolutely horrible about that. But then we rebounded, beat Northwestern 24-5, starting to feel good, and you go to Rutgers. And yes, this Rutgers program was looking better, and they did finish 4-5 in the Big Ten with a 7-5 record. But another game filled with penalties, missed field goals, a road loss. This was the kind of this season, just Jekyll and Hyde. Then Michigan, who at the time was ranked 10 in the country, came into Washington. And what did we do? We beat Michigan. Once again, we're like, well, okay, here we go. We beat Michigan. We're feeling pretty good on the season. The game looked great. It looked like a nice turning point into the program. And then we headed to Iowa, where we just got dismantled 40-16 in another road game. And then it's college game day at Indiana, and we looked like we shouldn't even belong on the same field with Indiana, who finished 11-1 and probably is going to make the college football playoff, and probably should. If you finish 11-1 and 8-1 in the Big Ten, that should be good enough to get in the playoff. If 12 teams got dismantled, then we get USC at home. It's like, all right, boom, win, turn it back around. USC's look good as of late, almost beat Notre Dame. Then we went on the road again to Penn State, dismantled 35-6. Come back home. Beat UCLA, looking good again, feeling good again. Going into that Oregon game, I thought we had a good opportunity to beat Oregon and, shock the college football world, for lack of a better word, because we were 18.5-point underdogs. No luck. And it's not a thing of luck here. It was just a horrible game by the Huskies. And then you go look at it at the end of the season. Yes, we went 6-6. Yes, we got a bowl game berth. But outside of Weber State and Eastern Michigan, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, and that's against Michigan, UCLA, USC. So sorry, 3 wins outside. No, and Northwestern. Sorry, 4 wins. Northwestern finished 2-7 in the conference. UCLA finished 3-6 in the conference. USC finished 4-5 in the conference. and Michigan is the only one there that was reasonable that finished 5-4 and above us in the conference. And the problems were, I mean, if you're a Huskies fan, you know it. Can't win on the road. Undefeated at Husky Stadium. Didn't win a game at a neutral field or on the road. And overall, just felt like a season that was, frankly, a lot of good opportunities to kind of make a good impact, but never really made that huge impact. And at the end here, it makes me say, like, you know what? It's okay. It's very rare you have a head coach come in and you're just absolutely unbelievable in season one of a rebuild. We're seeing Kellen DeBoer at Alabama have 3 losses of our former UW head coach. We saw Chris Peterson, I think, win 6 games or 7 games in his first season at the Huskies. We saw Steve Sarkisian have to rebuild the Huskies. So this is a rebuild, retool season. And to me, I'm satisfied with 6-6. I'm not happy, but I don't have a whole big pit in my stomach and saying, hey, where is this program going? Because I think it's still going to really good places. I think we have the right structure. And with a retool, rebuild, re-recruit, re-transfer portal, I think the Huskies next season could have a good season and finish with 8-9 wins. And if you get lucky with a couple of them, you could end up at 10-11 wins. The Big Ten's tough. We found that out pretty quickly. And that's where the Husky season went. Now, the bowl game, we have not had an announcement yet who will be playing in the bowl game. It'll probably be, well, most likely will be after the Big Ten, SEC Championship, ACC Championship games this weekend. So we won't know for a few days. But here's some bowl projections here. The Holiday Bowl versus Pittsburgh, ACC. The Las Vegas Bowl versus Ole Miss, which would be really fun to see us play against a good SEC team that just narrowly is going to miss the playoffs. The Sun Bowl versus Syracuse, the Sun Bowl versus Louisville, or the Sun Bowl versus Pittsburgh again. So it's going to be either Pittsburgh, Louisville, Syracuse, or Ole Miss, most likely, that we're going to play in a bowl game. That's going to give us a good chance to, showcase what we can do against an ACC opponent. I'd rather play Ole Miss in the Las Vegas Bowl and see what we can do against an SEC opponent, see if we're good enough to compete at that level heading into next season. And that's basically what the Huskies did on the season, what we're going to be looking forward to. And in general, I am okay with what happened with the Washington Huskies this season. Like I said, I am not completely satisfied, but I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm not going to cry. So that's the Husky season in a nutshell. Let us know in the comments, what do you think of the Washington Huskies season? Are you okay with this? Satisfied? Disappointed? And are you looking forward to next season? This has been the Sports on Tap, Seattle on Tap, with me, George on Tap, Huskies edition of the Seattle on Tap podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back probably talking some Seahawks stuff later in the week. But in the meantime, Washington Huskies stuff probably won't be until a bowl game and maybe the basketball team, who's kind of off to a nice little start here. If they can beat UCLA, we can get really excited about the Washington Huskies season coming up. And in general, just hoping for good things for the Huskies. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.